Hey guys, today I'm going to share with you a little trick that we use in the performance world that I don't see being implemented by most recreational lifters or athletes or even coaches and trainers who are unaware of how to use it or why to use it. So what we're talking about today is the use of tempos. Tempos is basically assigning a time interval to different portions of a movement in order to create a new stimulus or adaptation. So how to use tempos. First, I'll start you off with some of my tempos here, and there's two different ways to write a tempo. So you might see this if you ever have training programs that you've gotten from somebody else. You might see tempos that look like this or that look like this associated with those movements. My tempos are movement-based, which means these time intervals are assigned by different segments of the movement from the beginning of the movement. So for example, if this was my tempo for a squat movement, this would mean that I'm going to go 3 seconds on the way down, 2-second pause at the bottom, and then X means explode on the way up. So a squat tempo with a 3-2-X tempo would be down for 1, 2, 3, pause, 1, 2, explode up fast. And that would be 1 rep. This tempo here would be something for a pull-up. So a pull-up, we start with the concentric portion of the lift. So I switch my tempo where now it's explode on the way up, 5-second hold at the top, 1 second on the way down. The difference between a movement-based tempo, the way I write them, and some other tempos that you might see is generally a tempo like this that has 4 numbers usually starts with eccentric, which means the lowering of the movement, isometric, concentric, which is the way up, and isometric at the top of the movement. This works really well for squats or push-ups or bench press, things that the eccentric is the first part of the movement. But where this gets confusing for a lot of people and athletes, if this is a pull-up tempo, you technically start here with the concentric part of the movement. So it'd be explode up, 1 second at the top, 3 seconds on the way down, and that gets really confusing for people to read. So I write mine movement-based because it's just a lot easier for athletes and clients to understand how to read them. So let's get into why to use tempos. The first reason, and one of the biggest reasons that I use tempos, is for technique. Isolating and slowing down different portions of the movement really allows your body to understand, to feel what different positions should feel like, to be able to control different movements and activate the right muscles as you move in and out of a different position, and really build a lot of competency in that movement. So this would be normally like a teaching tempo for me if I'm teaching somebody how to squat or do a push-up, where we're really just isolating a lot of time under tension through the whole movement so that my athletes can self-correct and they can understand what it should feel like and what the movement should be like, and build some competency through that full range of motion. It also allows me as a coach, if I have athletes doing this, if you're doing squats for 8 reps at this tempo, that whole set's going to take you 45 seconds. If you're doing squats just regularly for 8 reps, you're going to go up and down, up and down, up and down really fast, and that might take you 10 seconds. So for me as a coach, I have a lot more time to coach different athletes if you're all going for 40 seconds and I can come over and coach you on individual reps, versus what normally happens, you look over, you see somebody, you say, hey, get a little bit lower on that squat, and then they say, oh, I'm already done. I finished that set, that was 8. And they've gone through them really fast. So I like to use these a lot for teaching technique, for my own athletes to understand and to allow me some time to correct movements and give coaching cues throughout the movement. The second reason tempos are great is time under tension. So that goes along with teaching technique in terms of letting the muscles get a lot of time that they're being worked. So that's what time under tension means, while your muscles are under tension. But that's also going to teach my muscles how to fire, different things to fire at different times, what needs to be contracting, what needs to be relaxing in order to move or stabilize different joints. So great for teaching the technique and getting a kinesthetic awareness or a comprehension through your body of what it should feel like, as well as creating a stimulus for hypertrophy. So one of the goals for hypertrophy or gaining muscle is creating time under tension, how much time we can put those muscles under tension and therefore stimulate them to grow. So if I do 20 reps, I'm getting a decent time under tension. Even if I'm going really fast, probably doing that at about 20 to 25 seconds for 20 reps. However, I could put you on a slow tempo like this, and this is 4 seconds down, 4-second pause, and then explode up. That's going to be about an 8 or 9 seconds per rep. So I put you at 10 reps of that, and now we're talking 80 to 90 seconds that your muscles are under tension. So a lot more work being done. Therefore, it's going to lead to a lot more muscle building. Or if your goal is burning calories, if my muscles are under tension for 90 seconds and your muscles are under tension for 20, which one of us is going to burn more calories during that set? So great thing for time under tension. The third reason I like to use tempos is it provides a new stimulus. Because athletes and people don't normally do this, they don't isolate these different motions. They usually just focus on getting down and back up in these different movements. When we isolate different portions of the movement, it creates a very new stimulus to my body and therefore drives a new adaptation. So if my goal again is to lose weight, to gain strength, whatever the goal is, a new stimulus is going to create new adaptation. So I can make sure that I'm changing some things and shocking my body in a new way and therefore stimulating whatever that adaptation is that I'm looking for. Number 4, isolating weaknesses. So I use this a lot with a lot of my athletes. If there's a specific area where they're weak, let's say you can't finish your pull-ups. You do a couple pull-ups and then you're always getting to here and you can never really finish up at the top because you're weakest at that top portion. So what we're going to do, instead of just doing 100 little half pull-ups that will never turn into you doing full pull-ups, we're going to do a tempo that looks like this. 5-second hold at the top. So now you're getting a lot of time under tension in your weakest position, which is that top range of motion. So we're isolating that weakest part, and we're going to now put some time under tension into building that. Because if we just did the full pull-up all the time, you're always going to be able to do your strongest portion, so that part's not really going to get stronger because you're not going to be able to go through the full range of motion in order to overload those strongest portion, and you're never going to be able to overload the weakest portion unless you're actually spending some time there. So we have to isolate those different movements and allow you to build up some time under tension, some competency, and some strength in that position. And then last but not least, performance. So this is where I work in my spectrum is athletes, and the goal is performance. So if I have an athlete who doesn't particularly change directions well or absorb weight really well in their cutting or their jumping, their landing, what we're going to do is a lot of tempos that look like this one or this one, where we've really isolated the eccentric and build some eccentric strength, because that lowering portion is where they're weak on the field when they're trying to change directions or when they're landing. That's the eccentric load. So if they're weak and they're not able to absorb those forces, then when we hit the weight room, we're going to be doing a lot of eccentric loading to try to correct that imbalance. And that's going to lead to greater performance on the field. So a lot of different reasons to use these tempos. Ultimately, one of the biggest reasons is if you're not doing it, it's something new and you'll get a new adaptation to it and it'll add something new to your program. You don't have to change anything. You can do the same exercises, the same sets, the same reps if you want. You might have to adjust the weight a little bit, because if I'm doing 10 reps like this on a bench press and then I do 10 reps at this tempo, it's going to be significantly harder. But same exercises, same everything, you can just apply some tempos and you'll get a much different adaptation. And if you want to learn more about when to use different tempos and how to apply isometrics and why those are important and what you can benefit from that, or when we should focus on eccentrics, check out some of my other videos where I'm going to break down each phase of the muscle action and how applying certain tempos to that specific phase is going to drive a new adaptation. Thanks for checking it out. If you like these videos, make sure you follow me on Facebook at Coach PJ Nestler, or subscribe to my YouTube channel. Both of those are under Coach PJ Nestler.